Supreme Court ruling on reverse discrimination in the workplace. The court ruling unanimously in favor of a woman who claims she was denied a job opportunity and later fired for being white and straight. This ruling could make it easier in some parts of the country for people in majority groups to bring forward reverse discrimination claims against their employer. NBC's Laura Jarrett joins us now on set. Laura, people are going to be hearing this thinking this is a major issue, but you're saying it's not that easy.
It's major because the court was 9-0, essentially saying lower courts are getting this wrong. They're holding people who are majority groups, people who are white, people who are straight, to a higher burden, a higher standard than everybody else. And they've said that violates the Constitution. It's not fair. So more than just about this one woman's case in Ohio, it's setting a standard nationwide, Thomas. So the case will go back now down to the lower court, and this woman will have to prove up her case in court. It will go to trial, and she may lose on that. But at least the court is now saying, basically, to companies, you're on notice. You have to use the same standard for everyone.
So will companies see this ruling, see what the Supreme Court did? You said it was unanimous, and say, let me think twice before I promote someone, even though they deserve the job, whether they're black, Hispanic, gay. Will that affect those types of employers?
I think that's the big question, is whether it's going to have a chilling effect on these employment decisions. In one respect, you should say it shouldn't change anything at all because the justices aren't making new law. They're just saying you're supposed to be following what we already set out here. But we know that in this environment, in particular, as employment decisions are being made around diversity, companies are looking at this carefully.
All right, Laura Jarrett, great to have you here in studio. Laura, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we head overseas now to the war in the Middle East and a tragic homecoming for one Israeli-American couple. Their bodies finally home now after they were killed during Hamas's October 7th attack. All this as the desperate need for aid in Gaza grows more critical by the day. Matt Bradley reports tonight from Tel Aviv.
Tonight, a bittersweet homecoming for this Israeli-American couple. Their bodies finally returned home to Israel after Israeli security forces recovered them from southern Gaza. The Israeli military said Judy Weinstein Haggai and her husband, Gadi Haggai, were murdered in the Hamas-led terror attack on October 7th after their kibbutz came under attack. Weinstein, speaking in Hebrew, said, "My husband, I think he's dead, and I was hit in the face." These may have been among Judy's last words. Begging rescuers for help shortly after they ventured out on their morning walk that day, captured in this security video. Their daughter posting on Instagram today, "My beautiful parents have been freed." Their neighbor, Jonathan Dekel-Chen, whose son is a former hostage, knew them for over 30 years.
They were, sort of a couple of lovebirds. Finally, after more than 600 days, they can have peace.
But in Gaza, the war continues, along with aching hunger, as a controversial Israeli and American-backed group, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, distributes aid there once again. After a day-and-a-half pause following 2 deadly shootings, most recently on Tuesday, when Israeli forces fired into a crowd, killing at least 27 people, according to health officials there, and injuring more than 160 others. An Israeli government spokesperson said soldiers fired at people who had deviated from the prescribed route while approaching an aid point. "Our piece of bread is soaked in blood," said this boy, whose mother was among the dead, "just so my mother could get us aid." And Tom, that U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has attracted tons of controversy for its funding, for its founding, and for its methods in the Gaza Strip. But the group said today that in little over a week, it's managed to distribute nearly 8.5 million meals. Tom.
Matt Bradley for us tonight. We want to stay overseas now with the war in Ukraine. And the new images just released of Ukraine's surprise drone attack last week. Ukraine's president says this operation is what modern war really looks like. NBC's chief international correspondent Keir Simmons has this look at the cutting-edge AI tech that is shaping the next generation of military drones.
Tonight, President Trump revealing what he told Vladimir Putin on the phone.
I gave that analogy to Putin yesterday,
comparing the war to a fight among kids.
Sometimes you see 2 young children fighting like crazy. They hate each other and they don't want to be pulled. Sometimes you're better off letting them fight for a while and then pulling them apart.
President Trump saying Putin told him he was going to retaliate against Ukraine for its covert drone attack on Russian bombers. Trump saying he asked Putin not to strike Ukraine.
I don't like it. I said, don't do it. You shouldn't do it. You should stop it.
New images of that drone attack show 2 valuable Russian spy planes targeted and possibly damaged. The drone bounces off the plane's radar while Russian bombers are on fire. Ukraine says its drones put pressure on Putin to compromise. This is the big one. And tonight, NBC News with rare access to Turkish drone manufacturer Baykar that supplies Ukraine.
We act on principle.
They say drones are changing war, strengthening the underdog.
It has given nations an edge that they would have never have had.
Unlike the small drones used in Sunday's operation, Baykar's drones are at the top end of the market. They've just tested a drone in the Black Sea that can launch from a carrier. Their TB2 drone helped Ukraine resist Russia in the early stages of the war. Would you say this drone saved Ukraine?
Well, it helped. It gave a lot of hope.
And now they are equipping drones and aircraft with another 21st century disruptor, AI. There's technology in this hangar so advanced, they've asked us not to film it, like unmanned fighter jets. Combined with AI, it's an arms race that is just beginning.
It took centuries.
The company chairman tells me AI will turn warfare into three-dimensional chess.
If you can program air combat just like a chess game, the machine is going to be far superior.
But he says his company will not allow artificial intelligence to decide when to shoot. After all, could AI truly understand the meaning of taking a human life?
The human should be responsible. The operator should always be in charge of the firing decisions.
All right, Keir Simmons joins us now. Keir, these new technologies are changing war. We see that from your report. And the staggering human cost remains, right? We touched on this yesterday a bit, right? That new report out there that there's been 1 million Russians either killed or wounded in this war. I know you have some new reporting on that.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. I know that number really struck you this week. I think it's going to really stun many of our viewers. This is from the Washington-based Center of Strategic and International Studies. To break down that 1 million number, they say as many as 250,000 Russians are dead. They call it a sign of Putin's blatant disregard for his soldiers. They say Ukraine has sustained nearly 400,000 military casualties, with between 60,000 and 100,000 deaths. To put that in context, Tom, no Soviet or Russian war since World War II has even come close to Ukraine in terms of the fatality rate. As you say, Tom, war is changing, but the price of war, it doesn't seem to be.